Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation, what is sensorality? Sensorality is energeticality. Genetic, energetic. Sensorality is jeticality. A center is a source. Mass is the source of force. An exchange is an interaction. Sensorality is interactionality. Sensorality is undeniability. Sensorality reciprocates. So I made a little short video, right? If someone says, or if you reciprocate something, you do for them what they do for you. You return a favor. Reciprocity returns a favor. It's kind of how I structured the little short video, but reciprocity is equality. What you do to me, I will do for you. What I do for you, you do for me. What's the relationship of reciprocity and conjugation? Reciprocation, provocation. Sensorality, proctors. Sensorality, doctors. Adulteration is doctoring, right? If you doctor something in that context, you're modifying it, you're changing it for your benefit or to suit your needs. Objects have temperatures because of mass gap. And so again, this is still quote unquote an open question. It is not open in any way, shape, or form. If you look at a shadow, you can see 3 clear iterations on the wall. Those shadows or those iterations of the shadows comes because there's internal gaps in your mass. And so truly a trivial complete proof of the existence of a gap in mass, or the Yang-Mills mass gap, so to speak, is that temperature exists, right? Because if you have, like, my body, let's assume that 98.6, let's say that's pretty much about right. All right, I'm made of a bunch of organic material, and there's gaps in those molecules, in those atoms. They're all bonded, I'm one system. But the point being is temperature is an emergent property. Right? Temperature is not internal to one molecule. It's the overall vibration of the total substance. And so you wouldn't have a quote-unquote, there is no internal temperature, but if there wasn't a gap in the mass structure of your body or of anything, you wouldn't have temperature at all. Because that's what you're measuring, is that emergent overall vibration of all of the molecules that are bonded. That is what an internal temperature is, and without an internal mass gap, that wouldn't be possible. So that is truly a trivial, that's $1 million solution right there, it really is. But like I said, again, I've iterated the logic that would become if you didn't understand it, these different major problems, and there's no gradation to mathematical derivation for me. It's literally physically limited, and the time just has to pass. And I've done all of these steps. I can't emphasize that enough. But gapping skips. All right, a hop, skip, and a jump. Sensorality is answerability. Sensorality is innumerable. Sensorality is memorable. And I spelled it hilariously wrong. I had membrable, and then I was like memorable. So I forgot the O there, but then we take that morable. Sensorality is morability. Objects are obstructions, right? Mass obstructs. Sensorality obstructs. Structure obstructs, right? That is a natural definition. You can see the obstruct is clearly OB, the prefix that 1, 2. And again, all prefixes are very kind of clear now. It's very obvious that a lot of them have the fundamental stability of 2. Yeah. And so, but literally you can see struct, obstruct, structure obstructs. But that is a natural definition. Obstruction is interference. Sensorality reserves. Sense, reserve. Reversing, reverse, reserves. So that's a logical, natural definition or something. But again, conservation, conversation, you literally flip the S and the V. Now once again, we're flipping the S and the V. Reserve and reverse. We're reversing reserve. You see, it's a literal logical thing. I'm a Bob. But it's like, again, where you're undoing the same way we ask, what is the theme of mathematics? And it's kind of a self-contained question thing. That's the same type of intuition that strikes me here. Reserving saves. Reversing switches. Sensorality reverses, right? The universe, reverse. Sensorality is versality. We've already derived that part. Exhaustion tires. Exhaust is remainder. You go through, you burn something in your engine, you're driving your car, you have an exhaust pipe. That is the inefficiency, that is the remainder of a chemical reaction, combusting the gas in your vehicle, or depleting the battery of your electric vehicle. Memory remainder reminder. Memory reminds. That's another natural definition. Again, memory, mind. Sensorality reminds. What is mind to life? Does all life forms have a mind? Right? Sentience produces mindfulness. So I would say yes. But people will say, again, minding my own business, keeping to myself, staying in my lane. What is minding? Sensorality is minding. A cover is a sensor. Covert is discreet. Covert is inconspicuous. And again, I know we've covered it multiple times, but again, conspicuous versus inconspicuous, discreet versus conspicuous. Sensorality is inconspicuousness. Discreet is inconspicuous. Sensorality conspires. So inconspicuous is another one of those words where it's like you always use the negative form, right? And similar as like nonchalant. People say, I'm nonchalant. And then they'll say, well, I'm chalant, right? It's like, well, I'm inconspicuous. Well, I'm conspicuous, right? Discrete versus indiscreet. And obviously the logic with mathematical, right? The iteration of the T from discrete, like being inconspicuous, and discrete being a step function or an independent system, is direct iterations. Sensorality conspires. Sensorality is inspiration. Sweating is perspiration. Why is logic followed, right? I couldn't follow your logic. That didn't make any sense. That doesn't resonate with me. Why are we using following for logic? And again, overall, we're just trying to find the right question to ask, which will be like this self-contained linguistically, meaning it will contain all of the letters of sensorality, and then it will axiomatize sensorality, it will stabilize it, showing the direct iteration of the letters, and it will produce the new word form. And I already know science team has it. Again, my constitutional rights continue to be violated. It is profound and extensive stress. It's torture. At this point in my life, I have no expectation anything will ever change. I can't believe this is my real life. It's just profound and extensive torture. And to be able to say that so many fucking times and genuinely not one person on this planet cares is the most disgusting thing that has ever occurred. So as always, I do not want a single person involved in the suppression of science, anything they love, anything they cared about, being allowed to benefit from the property and the beautifulness of what my work really is. So any law that can be enacted, any punishment that can be enacted must be done so. And again, it's total intellectual war, so to speak, but I can't speak as I actually want to, because once again, brutally torturing, killing people, denying science, mutilating people, that's all legal, but calling out the people in power doing so is illegal. And so I will continue to sit here seeking asylum, saying my rights are violated so profoundly, and I'm in a community with judges and business people and a whole community of people where their biggest concern is, are they going to take 3 vacations or 5 vacations this year? Are we going to go to the summer house for 2 months or 3 months this year? And I legitimately in my entire life have never walked into a grocery store and be able to buy food comfortably. It has never occurred. I've never in my entire adult life lived outside of poverty level income legitimately. And there is no expectation any of this stuff can change. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.